You know, being British, I don't show much emotion, and unlike my American cousins, I don't think I'd start any video by telling you how excited I was. But today is slightly different, because today I'm unboxing my brand new Allett Kensington lawnmower. Well, hey! With the combination of my current lawnmower coming to the end of its life, together with a new larger lawn, I've decided that it's time to invest in the type of mower I've wanted for many years. So I've bitten the bullet and bought a 20-inch Allett Kensington, which is at the top of the Allett's homeowner range. It's a traditional petrol-driven cylinder or reel mower if you're from the US, and comes with a 127cc Briggs & Stratton engine. That's what the B in 20B indicates. Although there are Allett dealers all over the country, I ordered mine direct through the Allett website, and not long after received it on a pallet that, on the negative side, is just a bit too wide to get through my workshop door. But on the positive, I do get a free pallet. As I'm unboxing it, there's just a few drops of rain starting to come down, so I decide to take it into the workshop to set it up without it getting wet. You know, I haven't even opened the operator's manual yet, but just bringing it in from outside, it feels significantly different to the lawnmowers I've been used to. And generally I've been used to a 14-inch wide Quadcast or Suffolk Punch type. And this is just, being 20 inches wide, it's just significantly wider and just so much more of a sort of professional lawnmower. It's just really nicely done. Ooh, look at that, isn't that nice as well? You know, it's in some ways, it's a bit like being used to driving a Ford Escort and then suddenly finding yourself behind the wheel of a 5 Series BMW. Nice. Before I do anything to it, I just take a few seconds to appreciate it in all its glory, knowing full well that it will never be as new or clean ever again. Just like getting a new car, it's nice to know that you've got something that's going to work properly and not need any major maintenance for some time. So that's enough dreaming about this. I think we need to get it set up, ready for some use. And at the same time, I'll go through some of the functions as well. I know that the first thing I really want to do is this handle that actually folds down for storage has got 3 different adjustable heights, and I'm fairly tall, so I really want it on the highest setting. So I think there's a way here of essentially taking out this bar and just changing it to another position. Well, that's a good start, isn't it? Start losing bits and pieces before I've even used the thing. I'm careful here, trying not to scratch any of the paintwork, while also making sure that I don't get the control cables caught up around this bar. That's okay. That's nice and tight. The next thing I want to do is fit this cradle that holds the grass box, and it's got a lug at each end. And I've just noticed that unusually one of these lugs is actually sprung loaded. On all the other ones I've had, you've had to sort of bend them to get them in. Maybe it's just because it's a lot stiffer and a lot smaller, or maybe we're just looking at the upmarket version, I don't know. There we go. So what's nice about this grass box is it hangs on this cradle rather than sits on it. All the other lawnmowers I've had has had a cradle that the grass box sits on, which is fine, but when it's empty and you've got a really bumpy lawn, every now and again it'll pop off the cradle and even sometimes go into the cylinder and get a chunk cut off. So this is quite nice. This doesn't solve my bumpy lawn, but it does mean that I might be able to keep this grass box on the mower. Another thing I like about this range of lawnmowers is that they have interchangeable cartridges at the front. Obviously this one that it comes with is the cylinder cutting cartridge, but with just a couple of bolts removed, I can take this out and fit a scarifying cartridge, which I bought with the mower. And this is the one with the springy tines that basically rips your lawn apart and takes out all the old moss and what have you. And that just fits in there once the cylinder is removed. Now I'm not going to be using this and changing this today, but very soon as the spring starts, when I want to scarify the lawn, take up all that old debris and then do a bit of a reseeding, you'll see this in action. So the controls on this Kensington are very similar to what I've been used to in the past on my old smaller Qualcast. First you have a throttle that's a little bit fancier, but it's got a hare and a tortoise, obviously fast and slow. And then you've got two controls here that control the cut-in cylinder independently to the drive. So the cut-in cylinder, which is on your right hand, doesn't actually come on unless you hit this red button down and then pull up. If you just pull up, it disengages and nothing happens. It's just a safety feature. At the same time, on your left hand, if you just pull, it'll drive the lawnmower along. So what you can do is start and engage the cut-in cylinder going around, and then start and then take your hand off, and you end up in a comfortable position rather than being down here. It's very easy to use, and what's quite nice is once you've got the cylinder going and you start moving along, you only need one hand, and as soon as you let go, everything stops. The other thing that this lawnmower has got to help with manoeuvrability, and I noticed this even just pushing it in from unboxing it outside, is this split rear roller. It's like a split differential at the back, which means when you come into the end of a cut and you want to do a quick 180 to come back, this roller, rather than scuffing the grass, because it's so wide, it actually one bit moves forward and the other moves backwards, which is a really nice feature. And as I said, I noticed it as soon as I started rolling it. I think a lawnmower of this width would probably be quite difficult to manoeuvre if it didn't have that feature on it. But I must admit, this is easier to move around than my 14-inch one. Nice. So just before I put some oil and petrol in and see if I can get it to run, the last thing I want to do is just to make sure that the blades are adjusted properly, and this comb thing at the front, which I've never had before. So I'll just put it on its back carefully. I'll be able to check the blades. So this definitely is a job where you should be wearing gloves, because this blade is absolutely brand new and I can see that it's as sharp as it ever will be. So we get the traditional piece of paper, and this is quite thin paper actually. Let's see. Oh, nice. That's very good. This side. The other thing you get free with the Kensington is this kit that is designed to replace this front roller. If your grass is long, like mine is, because we're just coming out of winter, there's this tendency for this front roller to lay it down flat, and therefore makes it difficult for the cylinder to cut. So in those circumstances, you get these wheels that go on the side that basically don't roll the grass down. Now normally on a lot of their mowers this is an additional kit, but I think with this particular model you get these for free. So I'm going to take off this front roller now and fit this, because as I said, the grass is a little bit long. I want to give it a go this afternoon, and I think it's going to be more successful using these. The front roller I'm taking off is a solid feeling zinc plated steel roller that's got proper bearings inside. Quite a step up from the black plastic rollers I've had to change in the past because they're worn away in the middle. After reading the instructions, I realised to fit the auxiliary wheels I also need to take off this front rake. So I'll leave working out how to adjust that to another day. I think these rollers actually can be fitted on the outside or the inside. The manual I've got, it actually shows it on the inside, but I don't think there's any reason why it can't go out there. So I use Briggs & Stratton's own oil, which I found on Amazon, no more expensive than buying the normal stuff locally, which also saved me a trip to Halfords. Best to use a funnel for this rather than covering your new machine in oil. And once I put it back to level, I just double check that I filled it enough using the little mini dipstick. I suppose the last thing I need to think about is the height of cut as well. And it's adjustable here with just a screw, and there's a gauge here that tells you what height you're at. And it's infinitely adjustable. It just winds from all the way from the top to all the way down. Now, obviously, as I said, my grass is fairly long, so I don't want to cut it particularly short, so I'm going to have a fairly high cut. I think it's probably easier if you lift the front off just to wind the thing up. So as usual, Briggs & Stratton recommend you use fresh petrol that's less than 30 days old, because apparently petrol goes off after 30 days. I wonder who gives this type of advice. Shell? Well, there we are. I think we are ready to take it out and give it a spin. Although, just like a new car, the only problem with that means I'm going to have to get it dirty. Okay, the moment of truth. Fuel is on, choke is on, a little bit of gas. Let's see what happens here. Lovely. I must say I'm really impressed with this Briggs & Stratton engine. It's really quiet and amazingly easy to start. The mower is obviously heavier than the narrower models I've used in the past, but the combination of the split rear roller and the more than adequate engine means I found it to be easy to manoeuvre, and on full throttle quite a fast walking pace, which I need for my lawn, or else it will take all day to cut. I'm not taking off much here, so the grass box isn't filling up particularly quickly. But when it does and it's full, you realise that 70 litres is quite a big grass box. And although I usually use standard black plastic bags to store my cuttings in, I think I'm going to have to find something a bit bigger, as these are now a little awkward to use. With the extra cut-in width and not having to empty the grass box as much because I'm doing a light cut, I zipped through the first cut of the year in half the normal time. Although just coming out of winter, my lawn isn't looking good at the moment. I love the cut a cylinder mower gives the grass, and with a bit of work over the next few months, I think I can have this lawn looking respectable with some proper stripes. As I'm clearing up, I notice how cleanly the cylinder cutting action has cut these grass blades, like using a million pairs of scissors. So, after the first cut, what do I think of it? Well, it's just exactly what I'm after. I mean, being used to a 14-inch blade, once you take a couple of inches where you overlap with the last cut, you're actually down to a 10-inch wide cut. This has got 20 inches, so if you overlap by 2 inches, you're down to 16-inch cut. So that's 60% more you're cutting on every stripe. And that's why what I've just done actually went a lot quicker than what I'm used to as well. It's got a massive grass box, but at the same time, there's quite a massive cylinder here and cutting head. So the grass box fills up at the same rate, but I suppose you're collecting more grass and the whole thing is just a quicker operation because you're cutting so much wider as well. I have to change my mind about being like behind the wheel of a 5 Series BMW. Having going up and down just now, it's more like being behind the wheel of a Range Rover. You feel like you're really the groundsman of the month. And if I can just make sure that I feed the lawn properly, get rid of some of the bumps and lumps and do a good reseeding, then definitely this is the sort of kit I need to make a really good lawn this summer. So I'm glad, so glad that I'm invested in this, and I'm sort of set up now for the summer. So really keen to get going. Anyway, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please check out the other ones, and please check out our Patreon page where the membership is growing and you can show your support for the channel. So I've got quite a lot of polishing to do before I put my baby to bed tonight. So until next week, I'll see you then. And how did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy that? That's good. I'm sorry I got you dirty. I promise I'll clean you every week.